Here's a game, a Marley. Time for e4, e5. What will we get? I wonder if I should find a better second move here or third move, because everyone is playing the Italian game. I could play the two knights variation, but I don't really know it, so. And I always thought this was better anyway. I thought the two knights variation was pretty good for white. Okay, this is one of those tricky gambits. You take with the bishop to keep this pawn defended. And you've just won a pawn here. I guess he can get some mileage out of chasing this knight around. I don't think they normally take like that. I'll have to look at that in the post-mortem. I don't think that's the most accurate way for white to play that gambit. It is a gambit. It's a playable gambit, but not. It's one of those gambits that gives a black equal chances. So not one I've ever wanted to try myself. Maybe even better than equal. I think black comes out of this pretty good. Especially the way he's played it. This looks good to me. Looks like it's just a pawn, and a center pawn at that. So I've got rid of my dark squared bishop, so I can put my pawns on dark squares, develop my light squared bishop. Should be fine. He did get a pin, so maybe that's a little bit of compensation. And he has the bishop pair, but he's missing a center pawn. He needs to play something like a f4 here to really follow up on this. I think that's the way to play this. f4, take on e5, and just open up another line against my poor knight here. My poor pinned knight. Ah, there he goes. Okay, so let's kick the bishop first. I wonder if I can play bishop to g4. He takes my knight, I'll take his queen. He takes my queen. Take his bishop, he takes my bishop. So I lose two pieces and he loses one. So I guess that does not work. Let's see if we can unpin here. The idea is to trade off the bishop and lift my queen up one square. Ah, he doesn't want to do that. Okay, then my idea will be to play here. And fork the rook and the bishop. This is very dangerous for black. So this might not be working, but I wanna unwind from my position here. You know what I could do first, though? Or instead, I could bring this knight out. That's another way to unpin here. Of course, he could take immediately now. Maybe I didn't consider that entirely correctly. And I have to take with a pawn. That was the downside of that. In the other line, my pawn structure was getting wrecked. We can maybe look at that in the postmortem too, but I would get a whole piece there. But my king would be stripped of cover, and he'd have his bishop and his queen and his rook all in pretty good position. So I was not sure about that. Okay, so from here, I can take the bishop, or I can drop back to defend the king and hit his rook, gain a tempo on the rook. The rook would swing over here to the H file. I could bring my king up. He could bring, oh no, the rook can't go there. Let's go ahead and do it this way then. Want to bring, I do want to lift my king up here anyway and bring a rook to the G file. See if I can get something going here. So his rook has to go back, right? It can't go sideways because the bishop and the knight are controlling these squares. And he's still going to have trouble. He's blocked his queen and he still can't get to the H file. So I am going to bring a rook over to the G file. I see. If I take there, he will take with the pawn, and then I'll have to move my knight. Well, worse things have happened. Let's do that. The knight can go to D5 again and fork these pieces. Yeah, that's the problem. So the queen is coming here to the G file, huh? I mean to the H. The queen's coming to H5, threatening just to take there. I'm one step short. Yeah, I didn't calculate this right. Maybe I can still get away with this. So the queen comes to H5. I can play knight G4. If he attacks my knight, I can attack his queen with the rook. Now's the tricky part. So he's threatening to take my knight. Oh, I can just take his bishop now. I probably could have done that before, but I guess this works too. If you can't chase my knight away, that knight is like a rock, a rock defending over here. He can chase my queen away. You know, I was even wondering if I could play queen f2 check. It'd force a trade of queens at the cost of a knight. Could take this pawn at the end, but he gets his pawn to the second rank. I mean, his rook. I can take this pawn. He can get his rook to the second rank. So I guess that's not so great. Okay, what does he want to do? He wants to bring his rook over here to attack my knight, right? So let's move my queen to control that square. Now let's think about this check. I don't like moving my queen away. He's going to also bring his rook into the second rank. They can defend over here. Doesn't look so great, but I am a piece up. So I'm controlling the e4 square, so he can't play rook e4. I'm expecting rook e7, and I'll just bring my rook over here, I guess. Takes here. Well, of course, as soon as he lifts his rook off the back rank, actually I'm being a little bit silly, right? As soon as he lifts his rook off the back rank, I can give a pretty devastating check there. Speaking of checks, Okay, well, that was an entertaining game. I guess I will upload this and we will see what was going on in the postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.